Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this one, we will be reviewing Batman Arkham Asylum 11 years after release. So I just replayed this game on stream, and it was a great time. I absolutely loved it, and you can watch the VODs if you want to rewatch me playing it. Also, thank you everyone who became a member and got to use the exclusive badges and emojis in my chats, and also if you become a member for only $5 a month, you get a bonus exclusive video every single Sunday. In this week's member-only video, I got kind of candid about some of the difficulties and challenges with being a YouTuber in the field and industry that I'm in, so if you're interested in that, then check that out. Link is in the description below. Also, if we can, let's try to get this video to 1,500 likes. I would really appreciate it. Thank you for all the support on the recent videos. So I think that a lot of people talk about Batman Arkham Origins being underrated as a game, and I think in some respects it maybe is. It was certainly overlooked just because it was not developed by Rocksteady, and I think that I'm guilty of doing that at the beginning as well. But after replaying Arkham Asylum and thinking about it more and more for this review, I've come to the conclusion that if any Arkham game is underrated, it is Batman Arkham Asylum. Batman Arkham Asylum has stronger environments. It is more immersive than any other Batman Arkham game, including Arkham Knight and Arkham City. It is just fantastic. The world building is incredible, from the Amadeus Arkham tapes to collecting the Riddler trophies and seeing all the different environments on the map. In Batman Arkham City and Batman Arkham Knight, the game kind of looked the same no matter what environment you were in. I thought that they did a great job with Wonder City and Batman Arkham City, and there were a couple of other elements that they incorporated into Arkham City to diversify the way the game looked. But Arkham Asylum is the most environmentally diverse game, from the botanical gardens to the asylum and the secret Batcave and the tunnels underneath the asylum where Killer Croc lives. Like, all of that was done so well. It's so unique. It is really its own sort of environment, and when you walk into the doors of the botanical gardens, you feel like you're entering a whole new world. The gameplay looks beautiful for the year that the game was made. The graphics are not perfect, but the game flows very well. The combat is still quite good. It's definitely one of those games where you can spend hours playing it and not realize you've already played the game for hours, because after you complete one mission, it's right on to the next thing, and you're constantly on that main mission to take down the Joker, and you never get to do that until the very, very end of the game. And as a result of that, you feel like you're spending a lot of time trying to get there, and not in a bad way. You're just trying to rush to get to that end point because they set up such great stakes between Batman and the Joker, but you don't really close that arc until the very end of the game, and therefore you're hooked and trying to complete the game as quickly as possible. One thing I noticed in replaying the game is that the Joker is not in it as much as I thought he was, and I had the same exact reaction when I replayed Arkham City probably 3 years ago. I felt that the Joker was actually underused in Asylum and in City. That might be controversial, but I didn't feel like we had enough scenes where we actually saw the Joker. It was a very, very rare occurrence to actually encounter him and talk with him in person. We heard him over the intercom, which is great, and it's a great way to make sure we know that he's still there, and I thought that was a strong design choice that they made. I also kind of wanted to interact with him more. I wanted to have another boss fight, and I thought that the boss fight at the end of this game was pretty underwhelming. It was very repetitive, and as we kind of discussed in the stream, it wasn't even the most difficult boss fight of the game. I thought that the most difficult boss fight would probably be the Poison Ivy boss fight, but that boss fight was quite easy and really not that fun. So if you remember back to your first time playing the game, you probably thought that it was going to be an amazing boss fight because the Joker and also Batman get injected with the Titan formula, and you think that it's going to be like Batman versus the Joker as Titan Bane-like characters, which would be an amazing boss fight, obviously. Then they kind of pull the old fake Joker gag, and they pull that away from us. Batman injects himself with the antidote, which logically is the sensible thing for him to do, but it just would have been a lot cooler if we got to play as Bane/Batman and fight Bane/Joker. That would have been insane. So then you're kind of like, okay, well, this boss fight is not going to be that great anymore because we just injected ourselves with the antidote, and therefore we're not going to turn into this massive Bane-like character. But in that moment, it's still a pretty cool scene, and we're excited for the boss fight. But then our expectations are subverted even more when we realize that we don't even fight the Joker. All we do is we pull him down with our bat claw, punch him in the face, then he jumps back up and he's trying to wave at the helicopter to get attention. The idea being that he's some type of attention whore and loves when the news media is focusing on him, which is obviously true. I mean, that's true. But it was also really stupid because the Joker, I mean, come on, he's not a complete idiot. After we pulled him down the first time, surely he'd be looking for the bat claw and therefore not get caught by surprise by it when we try to pull him down again and punch him in the face over and over again. I mean, it just wasn't that cool of a boss fight. Basically, The guys run at you, you beat them up, you bat claw him down, punch him in the face, he jumps back up, he waves at the helicopter, you fight more guys, you pull him back down, you beat him again, do it one more time, and then the boss fight's over. Compare that to Bane, which was pretty good, Poison Ivy, which was really good. You know, there are a lot of good boss fights in Asylum, that was not one of them. Also, I noticed replaying the game, there should be more of an epilogue. I felt like it was very abrupt to end. It's kind of fitting because it's a simplistic game. It has a simple premise, and at the end of the game, we've defeated the enemy that we're trying to defeat, and the game's over. I get that, but it would have been cool to have maybe more interaction with Alfred, to go back to the Batcave, talk to Alfred more, talk to Barbara Gordon more, do something, interact with Jim Gordon a little more. I thought that the game just was very quick to end, and that could have been extended by a couple minutes. Nothing big, like 3 to 5 minutes. It also is important to remember that games are a lot different than they used to be. They're much more story focused, so it kind of makes sense that they wouldn't even think to do that at the time, back in 2009, when games were a lot different than they are today. But anyway, yeah, I think my biggest complaint for the story is that we didn't get to interact enough with the Joker. Mark Hamill's lines over the intercom are fantastic, and it adds a lot of flair to the game, but we didn't really get to see him a whole lot. We didn't get to see how he interacted with Harley. That was one of the big improvements they made with Batman Arkham City. So I would have loved to see the Joker more. One of the strengths of Night, actually, is that we get to bond, quote unquote, with the Joker more than we had in any other game. You actually get to talk to him, interact with him a lot more when he's in your head versus when he's in Asylum and City and he's kind of off doing his own thing and we're trying to chase him down. Overall, though, the story for this game is fantastic, and I really enjoy the world building here. Penelope Young and Aaron Cash, Frank Bowles, Warden Quincy Sharp, these are all characters that they created on their own, and it made a compelling world. They reused many of the characters in Batman Arkham City and Arkham Knight, besides, of course, Frank Bowles. He's dead, R.I.P., sorry for the alcoholism. Penelope Young is also dead, she got blown up, but Warden Quincy Sharp is alive, and we don't see him at night, which is kind of weird, but we do see Aaron Cash and a couple of other characters. It's really cool to see that. You know, the Arkham games, I thought, did a perfect job at sort of assimilating what we love about the Dark Knight, what we love about Batman the Animated Series, and some other iterations of Batman from the Chuck Dixon 90s comics, and a couple of other things, and the comic books as well, Long Halloween, Batman Hush. They clearly took a lot of inspiration, small little things from all of those different sources, and pulled them all together to create what I believe to be the definitive mainstream media interpretation of Batman. By mainstream media, I'm, of course, excluding comics, because comics are sort of Batman's main medium, and these are all sort of spin-offs of the comics. I truly and genuinely believe that Batman is a comic book character, and the movies and the video games that we play of him are secondary entertainment to his primary sort of home, which is on the comic book page. But anyway, they did a perfect job at balancing new with the old, and in Arkham Knight, they actually had a big misstep in that area, but in Asylum and City, they did a great job at incorporating Batman the Animated Series, The Dark Knight, inspirations from the 90s comics, and also adding their new things, you know, adding new characters, adding new gameplay dynamics, adding new gadgets that we had never seen before. And I thought that that perfect blend of old with the new and their own take on this character and franchise was incredible, and it's why Arkham Asylum is as good as it is. So shifting now to gameplay, I think that the game definitely needs more side missions. I really liked how the Riddler trophies didn't involve highly complex puzzles. I think in City and Night they really went overboard with all the electronics, and the difficulty of the Riddler puzzles was a bit too much in my opinion. Not in the sense that they're hard to do or that they're too challenging, but there's so many of them. In Arkham City, there are 440 Riddler trophies, and many of them are not just things that you can pick up on the ground. They are very difficult to attain. Sometimes there are puzzles that you have to look up online if you can't figure them out very quickly, and then it's difficult to figure out, okay, there's tutorials on how to get every Riddler trophy in the game online, obviously, but how do I find this specific Riddler trophy tutorial that I'm looking for on this map? There's over 400 of them. It's difficult to find the tutorial you're looking for. In this game, you kind of have the challenge of finding them, but they're all very condensed. The map is much smaller, and also, as I mentioned, you don't have to solve these complex Riddler puzzles. I don't know, some people will think it's a weakness of this game, that the Riddler trophies are too easy to find. I personally, once again, find it to be a strength. In Night in particular, when we had these Batmobile Riddler trophy challenges, I, of course, 240% of the game, so I fully completed it and platinumed it and whatnot, but I thought that some of those Riddler trophies, they were just not fun. They were not fun challenges. As I said, not particularly difficult, just not rewarding and very, very laborious and tedious. So I love that about this game. The game definitely needs more side missions, though, and there were a lot of villains that were missing out in this game. They sort of had teasers for a couple of villains. They had a teaser for Clayface, a teaser for a couple of others. It would have been nice to see characters like Deadshot. It would have been nice to interact with other characters and have other villains be in the game as side missions in particular. If I were remastering the game, I would certainly throw in side missions. I would add another island to Arkham Asylum as a separate ward of the island, and you can add more environments and more side missions. I think that that would be so much fun for us to re-experience Arkham Asylum with those additional side missions. I could see how some people could say it could ruin the experience, but we always have Return to Arkham. We can always play the OG version of the game, but Return to Arkham is honestly trash. The lighting is way too bright. It ruined the aesthetic of the first game. The graphics are not that much better, if better at all, and in some places they're even worse, as I proved in a video many, many years ago. The lighting, once again, is not great. There are frame rate drops throughout the game. It's just not great. I mean, I don't own a PS3, I don't own an Xbox 360, so it's great to be able to play the games on PS4. In that sense, I'm grateful for Return to Arkham, but we honestly deserve better. For Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, I would really like to see a full remaster of all 4 Batman Arkham games, including Arkham Origins, with all the DLC, all the side missions, all the character skins, and maybe even making them cross-platform where you can use the skins in Asylum and Night and vice versa. That would be very interesting. I also, once again, would like to see more side missions, particularly in Arkham Asylum. I think in Night, I wouldn't really add any. It already might be overfilled with side missions. Arkham City, you could add 1 or 2, but Asylum, it would be great to add more content to that game. And we want a full remaster. We want a remaster of the gameplay mechanics. We want a remaster of the graphics so the game is totally revived in that sense, not just porting the game from Unreal Engine 3 to Unreal Engine 4, which incidentally ended up downgrading the graphics slightly. And with the one side mission in the game, which is the Riddler puzzle missions, the ending is a bit underwhelming. Basically, we hear the Riddler on the phone and he's getting swatted, essentially. But that's really all we get from collecting all those hundreds of Riddler trophies, which is a bit disappointing, to be fair. That was a huge upgrade in Arkham City and Arkham Knight, where we actually got to see the Riddler in person. I thought that the ending of the Riddler mission in Arkham City was particularly great. I think the map in this game is perfect, and when you look into the Gotham skyline, it looks incredible. The buildings are fantastic. The skyline is so atmospheric. The atmosphere of the asylum, it really transports you to what I kind of experienced in Madhouse on a Serious Earth, the Arkham Asylum book. It's a little bit less esoteric and dark and gritty than that in a good way. They lighten up the atmosphere just a little bit compared to the book, which I think was, again, a great move. It's sort of blended Batman, Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on a Serious Earth, the graphic novel, with Batman the Animated Series tonally, and I thought that was a perfect blend. Another challenge of the game is that there are a few AGLs, artificial game lengtheners, where I felt like I wasn't doing anything really fun or productive. It was like just to lengthen the game. For instance, in order to figure out where Croc was, we had to go ask Aaron Cash, which took like 20 minutes to traverse the map and go talk to Aaron Cash and be like, oh yeah, he's in the sewer. And then we could go to the sewer. That was so unnecessary. They could have cut that part out so we didn't have to go back all the way into the building where we first interact with the Scarecrow, and we didn't have to go where the book was with Penelope Young, and that's where Aaron Cash is. And that was just totally unnecessary. They could have skipped that altogether. He's Batman. He knows where Killer Croc is. He should know that. He shouldn't have to ask Aaron Cash. Although it is interesting because Aaron Cash does have that history with Killer Croc. And it would have been nice to have that moment where actually like Aaron Cash comes down with us. He, of course, had his hand bit off by Killer Croc prior to the events of Batman Arkham Asylum. It would have been interesting for him to go down with us. I also wish we got a little more character interaction with Jim Gordon, Barbara Gordon, Aaron Cash, like I said. The game is intentionally isolating, so I can't really judge that. It was a conscious design choice, and I thought that this game was very well planned out and organized, so I can't really say that or have any issue with that. But it was also great to see Victor Zsasz and many other villains in the game besides just the Joker and Harley Quinn. In summary, I think if any Arkham game is underrated, it is Batman Arkham Asylum. It's often overlooked because it is the first installment in the franchise, and Arkham City and Arkham Knight did improve upon Asylum substantially. However, one thing I also forgot in replaying the game is it has a fairly substantial level up system where you get XP from the Riddler trophies and the Joker teeth and completing some other challenges. And as a result of that, you get more XP and can unlock future abilities. And these abilities are very useful. You can pick guys up and throw them. You can punch harder. You can have explosive gel detonate when someone walks by it. You can have a vertical takedown. So your character at the beginning of the game is very bare bones, perhaps too bare bones, but the level up system is actually a lot better than I remembered. And that's really one of the themes I felt replaying the game, is like, it's better than I remembered. This world is so interesting to delve into, and it's one of those things where I would easily free roam on this game if the map was bigger. Of course, there's not really any free roam mechanics on Batman Arkham Asylum, but if there were, it would be incredibly fun to do that, because the world is endlessly interesting and it looks fantastic. It just makes you feel like you're playing in a comic book. I think much more so than Arkham City and certainly Arkham Knight. Arkham City kind of has a Batman hush feel to it, but Arkham Asylum really makes me feel like I am in a comic book. It's also a great game to play on Halloween, I think. So it's great for a lot of different things. So although I think it's the weakest of Rocksteady's trilogy, it is the most underrated Arkham game. It is stronger and it is a better game than Arkham Origins. Even though Arkham Origins is a more expansive world, it has more villains, and maybe it's a bit more cinematic, I think that Asylum is a masterpiece. It's carefully curated, and clearly so much time and energy and effort went into perfecting and fine-tuning the game. And it's great at what it does. Yes, it is not as complex in terms of the gameplay and narrative-wise as some of the other games, but that also benefits the game. I mean, the gameplay is very, very tight. It works incredibly well. The boss fights, it's very clear what you are to do and how to do it, and it has a very rewarding gameplay structure where you get rewarded for collecting the Riddler trophies and doing other bonus tasks, and that in turn can give you more health and special abilities with your Batclaw and other things. I think that it's just great, and I really enjoyed replaying the game. I'm looking forward to replaying City even more. And I'm very curious to see kind of what I think about the game and the environments compared to Asylum. As I said, Asylum is just perfect. It's quintessentially Batman to me. That's why it's fundamentally underrated, is that Arkham Knight is not a quintessentially Batman experience. Asylum, that should have been the tagline, be the Batman. If you remember in Arkham Knight, they were teasing that a lot. And it was really just because they were introducing the Batmobile. They thought was going to make us be the Batman. But it really doesn't, because the environments and the aesthetics and the way the game makes you feel, it's all off. It feels more like another AAA video game that is almost not even a Batman game. But Asylum is quintessentially a Batman experience, and that's why it is, in my view, the most underrated Batman Arkham game. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you never miss a future upload. Have a stream on Wednesday, Batman Arkham City Part 1. Be sure to tune into that. And I already reviewed Batman Arkham City 9 years later. That link will be in the description below, as well as several other videos, link to become a channel member, and everything else going on the channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Slickmoth. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.